Okay, question 5H. When completing the square for x squared minus 18x plus 77 equals 0, which equation is a correct step in the process? Now, you completed the square a couple questions back. I'm not on the right page in my book here. Question 5F. So in your book, question 5F is the same as 5H. So if you haven't yet, I recommend you go back and look at 5F and then do that same process for 5H with these new numbers. But anyway, let's pretend you haven't done it yet. So completing the square, I'm going to use the margin right over here to do it. So you'll need a little bit of space, but not a lot. Minus 18x plus 77 equals 0. I'm going to go off to the side there. Now, first step in completing the square, get the constant on the other side. So plus 77 will go to the other side as a minus 77, because if it switches sides, it switches signs. So I have x squared minus 18x. Leave space. That was another part of completing the square. Equals negative 77. Leave space. Okay. Now, the main ingredient to fill that space right there, the little arrow, and that's also going to be the same space right there, is you need to take your b value in this quadratic, divide it by 2, and then square it. So you're going to take your b value from the quadratic, which is negative 18, because remember it's ABC, so b is negative 18. I'm running out of room up here. You're going to divide it by 2, and then you're going to take that answer, that's a parenthesis, and you're going to square it. Or you can do it quickly in your head. Negative 18 divided by 2 is negative 9. And negative 9 squared is negative 9 times negative 9, which is positive 81. And you'll always get a positive out of that. So in the blank space, you're going to add 81 to both sides because it's an equation. And if you add something to one side of an equation, you have to add it to the other. I see a trinomial over here. I see an easy cleanup. I'm going to grab that right now. So negative 77 plus 81 should be positive 4. Right? Because those are like terms. We can just combine them. Ooh, 81 goes right there. That's about 8. Now, here's what's cool. The answer is already showing up. Because this blob equals 4. Okay? Completing the square, you're not going to get that plus minus 13. The only one that actually has the 4 right now is going to be choice 1. So I'll show you the last step here so we can kind of feel it out. But 1 right now we have reason to be suspicious of is the correct answer. The last part of completing the square is you factor it. So the way you've made this set up is it's very factorable now. You forced it to be factorable. 1, 2, 3, 4 equals 4. You're doing the AM method, add and multiply like we've done all year. X and X goes in the first spot of each parenthesis. Or if it's like M, or they use a different variable, be sure to use like M and M or N and N or B and B, whatever it is. Okay, two numbers that multiply to give you 81, but add to give you negative 18. Shortcut for completing the square, it's always going to be what your B is when you divide it by 2. So our B was negative 18. Negative 18 divided by 2 is negative 9. Therefore, it's got to be negative 9 and negative 9. This looks more like a Q, doesn't it? And then blob times itself, a blob times blob is blob squared. So x minus 9 times x minus 9 is x minus 9 squared. That equals 4, just kind of travels with you for a minute. And at this point in the process, it's pretty clear. I mean, x minus 9 quantity squared equals 4. And then if you had to continue and solve this, actually, you would take the square root of both sides, and then you have a plus or minus 4 coming out of it, and then you get your two answers that way. So the answer to 5H should be choice 1. Completing the square is very random. There's a lot of random steps, but the way that they're random is cooked into the recipe that it always comes out to being factorable, and something times itself would be something squared. Okay? So that is it.